to my soulmate, whoever you may be, you know, I have to fight this war against the New World Order. That's why I made the oath. But make no mistake, I wanna give you some good, good loving. I know I can't sing, but anyway, that was for, you know, what's left of women. Anyway, so I talk about, you know, in one of my videos, I think it's in the series, where I said, you can't make things that aren't equal, you know. It doesn't make sense. For example, would you treat your pet bird the same way as your pet horse? They eat different food. All you can do is make things that aren't equal to treat them fairly. And of course, when you hear about the drugs and the water and so on, we see that warriors are being screened out. The deeper implications of relationships and the social developers and social planners setting up relationships on a sociological level, you know, from a sociological perspective, in a way that shuns the most attractive men who do not have money. A lot of these men are the athletic men, they are the strong men, they are the proletarians, they are the construction workers, the UFC fighters who don't make it. They are the athletes, the good-looking guys, you know, who are the most shunned, or excuse me, who have it the worst in, you know, the modern dating scene. I'm not saying every guy who is poor and unattractive has trouble getting pussy. I'm saying in the big picture, the group that has it the worst, when you compare it to what they naturally would have, or what you compare it to other economic systems, you know, the group that has it the worst in American society, American capitalistic, materialistic, modern society, is the attractive men who do not have money. Because the rich men obviously have no problem getting women, generally speaking. The attractive women who do not have money have no problem finding a date, because men are more driven to find women. So they just kick back and tons of men throw themselves at them. And, you know, but the attractive poor man, I know from experience, you know, doesn't have it like that. And this creates a scene for the unattractive women and the gays to prey on them. And this is key. Okay, this is not just something I'm disturbed by, though I am disturbed by it. It is key to what's going on here. Okay, because reproduction and psychiatry are connected inextricably. Okay, look at hypergamy, dating up. Now, in a society where women date up, attractive men are more likely to be depressed and to be put in eugenics, because depression is really you knowing something is wrong. If you're unattractive anyway, you kind of get used to it. But if you feel like you're being shunned, you're more depressed than unattractive people, you know, if you lose that hope. Okay, so there's a lot of good-looking guys who go to the psych ward because they know they deserve, or excuse me, they know they can get better. You know, a lot of people who are unattractive kind of make a joke out of it, and they kind of, you know, they kind of go by, you know, they kind of make it, you know, they kind of keep their head above the water, you know, mental health wise, you know, keep their mental health in order, if you will. Not always, you know, there's a lot of unattractive people in the psych ward as well. But the single group that has it the worst, and by a good bit, are the attractive men. Because what is an unattractive man really losing when he doesn't have money? You know, in nature, you know, where attraction plays a key role in this, you know, the attractive women aren't going to go after him anyway. You know, he's going to end up with unattractive women naturally. That will be the tendency, you know, not every time, generally speaking. Okay, so it's important I thoroughly explore that, because this is part of mental health. Intimacy needs are part of mental health, and they're part of your flow in life. And if you don't feel like they're being fulfilled, or you don't have some form of coping mechanism, philosophical, drinking, watching sports, you know, a teddy bear, I don't know, a pet, you know, you don't have some coping mechanism, you know, you will see attractive men who do not have money becoming depressed and being drugged unnecessarily. And so society is designed to shun them more than any other group, or, you know, as far as relatively, you know, they have the worst of it out of every group, and also to drug them. Oh, you know, it's not that the environment that we set up that did it to you. You must have a mental disorder, you know? And so this goes back to why I talk about white people so much, okay? I know there's white people who feel the same way I do. The problem is, and listen carefully, is that the society has set it up so you can't really trust them now, for the most part. Because there's so much controlled opposition, they benefit from it. I mean, how many people, you know, who come from the group of people that benefit the most, arguably, from the system and how it's set up, can you really trust? You know how many people that approach you from this group are really going to be sincere about hating the New World Order? And how many are just going to be controlled opposition who might resent the New World Order, but they hold it inside, you know? And, you know, and they might be allowed to express it in order to pretend to be true opposition, but really they're informing the New World Order. So a lot of times I get very angry. And a lot of times I think about the average white person who uses white social norms to give me a hard time, you know, or, no, I don't believe you because that's weird. And I see a lot of police officers doing it. One of the first things that comes to my head is police officers, you know. Police officers came here before, you know, saying, well, you must have OCD or you must have a mental disorder if you're upset, you know, taking this kind of white perspective. Because let's face it, that is a very white perspective. Because you think about what culture comes at it that way from that angle, you know. If you're in the ghetto, for example, and you're upset, you're not going to see too many black people automatically jump to the conclusion you have a mental illness unless you are completely acting crazy, talking to yourself, you know, talking to an imaginary friend in front of people and shit, you know. When you can contain it when you're interacting with them, they don't care if you just cussed out the mailman and say, I'm going to fucking scrape you, you fuck up my order again, right? And you come back, you say, so what's up? You know, we going to smoke some weed? You know, that's not weird. But if you do that in the white suburbs, they're like, this guy's bipolar. Weren't you just upset? As if you didn't have a good reason to be upset. You see what I'm saying? So this is a white cultural thing to throw meds at every single problem. And you'll see a lot of these housewives in the suburbs taking prescription pills. Okay? You'll see that. And you'll see a lot of these feminists drinking as if they're men and self-medicating. You'll see that. Okay, so it's not like it's because they're a housewife that they feel the need to take drugs. Okay, how many witchcraft, Wicca type of fucking feminist whores, you know, self-medicate with meth and marijuana and hard liquor and so on and so forth. So, you know, not to mention lesbians and them crazy biker bitches and, you know, non-conventional, you know, Christian, you know, so on. And I have countless videos where I show you tons of quotes from feminists saying that we are going to break down the family. We are going to, quote unquote, liberate women. You know, feminism is conducive to the New World Order, things of this nature. Okay, there will be a New World Order that includes feminism. All over the world, Australia quotes, UK, America, and so on. I mean, you know, when it comes to my points about the spiritual bottom feeders, I assure you, I promise you, I would bet my life on it. This is not me speculating. This is not me being homophobic, which was coined by a secret society Jew, by the way, who's a psychologist, an atheistic, secular humanist, secret society Jew, who was a psychologist. I believe his name was Heinberg. I'll correct it in the comments if I'm wrong. Okay, this is not just me throwing that out there. When you do the research, you see a bunch of whites and Jews in secret societies. And when you look at the professors and what they're teaching at schools and how feminism spread throughout college campuses, it's a powerful college movement. It has to do with the powerful psychological, you know, psychology-derived movement, powerful college movement, powerful movement that includes celebrities and so on and so forth. Okay? And this all goes back to psychiatry as well. Because once the social norm has been set by the psychologists and the social planners who collaborate and collude with the psychologists, then psychiatry drugs people until they assimilate properly. You know, we live in a feminist society. You can't say those things. We live in a pro-gay society. And instead of saying that, they'll say we live in a democracy, in a liberal democracy, in a Western democracy. And you can't have this, you can't say this hateful stuff. And we're going to have to drug you if you cannot refrain from this hate speech, you know, and things of this nature. And you see Christian groups labeled as hate groups and so on. And this goes back to psychiatry. And it's why it's a fraud, really. It is a fraud because it sells itself as helping people. You know, Ernst Rudin is the father of biological psychiatry. And then Franz Kallmann, who studied under Ernst Rudin, a Jew who came to America, an atheistic Jew, by his actions, you know, came up with the, you know, when manic depressive disorder, the genetic component to manic depressive disorder, and so on and so forth. He was the main pioneer of that, right? So when you look at this, absolutely it's Nazi science. Absolutely Nazis are an extreme version of the white occult. And the Zionist movement is perhaps an extreme version of the Jewish occult. So it's the Jew-white paradigm, the left-right paradigm. And of course, there are people who are under these philosophies, under heavy mind control, that do hate each other. There are skinheads that really hate Jews. There are Jews that really hate skinheads. Okay? But these movements are controlled. They are occult-derived, phony movements, you know, with people who really believe them, you know, fighting the cause, just like with ISIS. ISIS is a secret society-derived movement with real Muslims who really believe that's what they're supposed to do, blowing themselves up. Okay? And so on, you know. Well, let me wrap this up. I didn't really want to make this part that long. I just wanted to get that off my chest and to let you know that, yes, you know, they're extremists doing this. They're killing 500,000 people annually in Western countries alone. RT reported, mainstream media on record, they're killing 500,000 people every fucking year. You know, they can get a bunch of ninnies to try to argue the fucking science behind that. But how come no one's allowed to argue their, you know, no one's allowed to argue in the same manner the science, the quote-unquote science behind the methodology behind their clinical trials, but they can argue when somebody who has no reason in the world to lie, you know, exposes their fucking massacre, their pharmacost. I mean, it's a real horrible double standard. It is a sickening, repugnant, reprehensible double standard that should not be acceptable in a free and open society. Okay? If you're going to claim that America is a free and open society and democracy is synonymous with freedom and liberty, then the least you can do is behave in such a manner, you know, you elitists and you social developers, planners, and social controllers. But if you're going to have some kind of autocracy, some kind of totalitarian fucking dictatorship, then at least say that's what this is. You know, people like me, you know, if that's the case, we won't, you know, if everyone's cool with that, there's not much people like me can say, you know. I'm like, it's a totalitarian dictatorship. They're like, yes, we know. You know, that's what they teach us in school. We know. But when you're doing that, you know, and you have the secret government dictatorship and you're selling it as, you know, liberal democracy, and that is how you've defined liberal democracy, then know very well that I'm going to then attack liberal democracy. I'm going to attack secret governments. I'm going to attack. You know, and the more you take it to an extreme, you know, it's blowing up in your faces. Why did I make my top martial artist challenge? You know, which at one point I offered $6,000 to anyone who could beat me. Now it's back to $3,000. Okay, why did I make that challenge? Because of the reason I said in the first couple sentences. I'm the top martial artist in California. Now it's America, because I have everyone hiding, just like Revelation 6:15, I believe it was. And I'm being persecuted for my political views. Okay, your gang stalking, your covert harassment, your organized stalking, your covert drugging is the reason all you pussies have been put on super blast. You see how you took it to an extreme when I was simply spreading my views as we're supposed to be allowed to do in America. And then you took it to an extreme persecuting me. And then it blew up in your face as I stepped it up. You know? Psychiatry is a fraud. It's a deadly fraud. They run psych ops on people with chemists, pharmacologists, and psychologists, especially with the gang stalking groups. Thank you.